Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 6. Module 6, we're still in the cause and effect essay units. This is kind of the middle one, and so right now we're working on some stuff to just help us draft and get a better version of the final draft, which you'll do in the next module. So we're still working on that cause and effect essay. The first thing you want to do is go back to your brainstorm, your thesis and outline, make sure that your plan for your essay will work, and then start actually working on a draft. A couple of things that you'll be doing. So we've got 3 assignments here. The first one here is to do a paragraph of your cause and effect essay and just turn in that paragraph. The reason we're doing this is because one of the most important things I think that you can really get out of this class is making sure that when you write just a single paragraph, that it all is cohesive. So everything that goes within that paragraph belongs in that paragraph, and that paragraph can then sit in an essay and match everything in the essay. So first thing you want to do is make sure that you are okay, your topic is okay for your cause and effect essay, and then you're going to look back at your working thesis and write one paragraph of your essay. So you have 2 options for this. The first one would be to just write a paragraph over just one of your main points. So when you look back at your outline, if your outline is, what happened after you stopped smoking. So you stopped smoking and you saw a lot of positive benefits in your life, then your paragraph would just be about everything smelling better. So that's your sense of smell improved, or things like your clothes and your upholstery and things like that stop smelling so bad. So that smell would be just one main point in the entire essay. This is the one I recommend doing, because if you do this, you have this single paragraph that you've written, then you can take that and you can put it directly into your rough draft. Some students have difficulty doing that, though. They have difficulty isolating a paragraph when they haven't written the rest of it. And so the other option is to basically write your essay in the form of a paragraph. So your thesis would then be the first sentence, and then you would have your main point sentences after that, and your conclusion as a sentence. And so basically this would be a short version of your essay that you would then expand on in order to create a full essay. So it's up to you which one you choose. I think the first one is a little more helpful, but some students have difficulty writing like that. So a couple of things to help you out. First of all, in Rules for Writers, there is a whole section on writing paragraphs, and it goes over things like transitions, unified paragraphs, what the topic sentence should look like, how to stick on point, that kind of thing. And then I believe it gives you an example of some underdeveloped versus well-developed paragraphs, and then making things coherent. There's a lot of information in here, and I really recommend going through all of this, thinking about sentence level transitions that can be really difficult for students versus the paragraph level ones, which are the ones at the beginning. Some good transitions to use. So you're thinking about how to show relationships between things, and then maintaining consistency, and then looking at length, are you covering too many ideas, that kind of thing. And then there are different strategies for a specific paragraph, and there is an example of a cause and effect paragraph. So that can be something that you might think about looking at first. The other thing that I've done is created some examples for you, and I actually gave it to you in order of weakest to strongest. So basically I'm using this program, it's called Boodlebox, to help me create some examples for my classes. And the weakest example, and I've given you some reasons why it's the weakest, the vague language and the lack of consistency and that kind of thing. And then a stronger example, but one that's very obviously created with ChatGPT. So I want you to see the difference in some of the wording that would be used. And if you want to do this, you can. I'll add this to the assignment description, but if you want to go in and have a paragraph created for you after you've written your own, just to see what the differences are, it'll take you a little longer to do the assignment, but I think most importantly is seeing what are some of the differences between the way you write and the way the computer would write. So if you're asking AI to write something, I want you to recognize when it's using language that you would normally use versus not. So there's some potential issues with this. This is the strongest example because of the unified topic sentence and then the specific examples that are used and that kind of thing. And then the language is a lot more authentic and a lot more clear. So that's the strongest example. So just some examples for you to look at if you want. You don't have to. So that's one assignment. So once you're done with that, you're really ready to start working on your essay. So you're going to finish out your cause and effect draft, however you prefer to do that, whether that's taking that paragraph and expanding on it, or whether it's just adding more paragraphs. If you've done the paragraph, you submitted it, and you want my feedback before you finish this whole draft, you're welcome to email me. I usually don't grade things until after the deadline so that I can do them all at once. But if you want feedback early, you can always send me an email. So I've got some, writing the cause and effect rough draft page for just more information. And then once you're done with that, you're going to submit. So you're submitting the rough draft of your essay. So you're going to save this as cause and effect rough draft, and then you're going to submit it here. Once you're done with that, you're going to go to, so you submitted it, it's going to give you the confetti. Then you're going to go into submission details, and you're going to leave yourself feedback. So you can see I've got it submitted here. This is my file. If I go to view feedback, then it will give me this box that will open up. You will do this multiple times this semester, so getting used to how to access this is really important. This is how you see feedback from me. So when I go in to grade your essay, this is the screen I see, and I will see your comments then on the side. So what you have here are all the editing tools in Canvas. So you can leave yourself some feedback. These are my favorite, the little bubble comments. I do those a lot, and then the highlighting is also really helpful to leave feedback. So what you're going to do is you're going to find errors throughout your essay, or just sentences that don't work very well, or things that you want to add. You can put reminders in there. Don't forget your conclusion, that kind of thing. So you want to make sure that you are adding some feedback. So on the side here, I'm going to count to make sure that you have at least 8 comments for yourself. Now, if you're struggling with this, because sometimes it can be difficult to really see how feedback works when we're looking at our own writing, you can always go to ChatGPT or Perplexity, Perplexity is the better one, I think. Give it this prompt to act as a writing tutor and to give you some feedback, and then you'll copy and paste your essay in there and it will give you some feedback. And then you can go in and you can do the same thing. You go into submission details, and then you use that AI response to identify those errors and just put those in there. Just make sure that you do drop a little comment in there if you do use AI, which program you used, so that I can see that you did that. And so that is an assignment. So once you're done with that, then now you've got a self-edited version of your draft. So you've got your own comments, your own feedback. I will go in there and do feedback as well. And so then next week when you're doing your final draft, you'll have more feedback to look at, and you'll be able to really improve your essay based on your comments and then my comments. So that's the next step. The last thing in the module is the next mindful reading exercise, and this is however you choose to do this. You can do it first or you can do it last, it's up to you. But this one is, we're practicing mapping. So you're already familiar with mapping from doing pre-writing, so that's like a cluster map. For this assignment, you're mapping a reading. So you're going to go into the textbook, and this section's in here under mapping, and then I want you to pick a reading out of the book. It is down here, part 2, readings on readings. You can pick any of these. Some of them are more interesting than others. You can just go in here and look through it. Your first task is to kind of annotate the first like 2 pages. And you can do that if you open the PDF. You should have some like highlighting ability that you can highlight, leave comments, that kind of thing, and then just take a screenshot and put it in a Word document. You can also print it out if that's easier. And then the next thing to do is to do a map. And you're going to do the map twice. You're going to do you're going to start with the first 2 pages and map it out. And then you'll read the rest of the article and then add to your map so we can see how it grows, preferably in a different like color or something. If you want, you can hand draw that. You can use a Word document, or we also have this it's called Lucid Whiteboard, and it's linked through Canvas, and it does allow you to create maps. I think you can turn them directly in through Canvas, but I haven't played with it enough to figure that out. So if I figure it out, I'll leave some instructions for you. But that's another option if you want to help you out with that. So this one might take you a little bit longer. It's not going to take you much longer to do the reading part. It's just the mapping part that does take a little while. So if you have questions as you're doing, there's a lot of stuff going on in this module. It's going to take you a little bit longer. If you have questions, make sure that you're sending me an email. Send me copies of what you're working on. And I hope you have a great week.